Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. Julian and I are in our late 20s. We've been married for 6 years, and our bond continues to strengthen with time. He works as the head of the sales department for a local software company and travels frequently for work. I, on the other hand, run a psychology clinic. Both of us are second-generation Americans, with his family hailing from France and mine from Italy. This story started 2 years ago, in the summer of 1999. Julian had just returned from a business trip to England and was taking a shower. His suitcase was on the bed, and I decided to help by unpacking. I folded his pants and shirts and put them in the closet. However, halfway through the bundle, I found something unexpected: a pair of tights, a long, brown wig, and black knee-high leather boots with 6-inch heels. These definitely weren't my style, especially since I prefer low heels. They were also his size, not mine. I placed them on top of the pile and went to the living room to sit down and read a magazine, leaving the suitcase open. A few minutes later, I heard the shower stop, and Julian emerged, wearing only a towel. He went straight to the bathroom, but then he froze. Something clicked in his mind, and he came into the living room, looking nervous. "You, went through my suitcase," he stammered. I nodded, setting the magazine down. "We need to talk," I said calmly. He sat down on the sofa, looking like a man about to face judgment. He seemed genuinely terrified. "Don't worry, I'm not upset," I reassured him. "I know you'll have an explanation, so go ahead." He took a deep breath. "All right. First, I want to make it clear that I'm not gay. I love you more than anything, and I'm not having an affair. But I am a crossdresser." At that moment, I knew. It all made sense. He continued. "I don't know how long it's been going on. Probably all my life. I've been thinking about this since I first realized what I am. Initially, I was terrified I was gay because that wasn't something I wanted for my life. I didn't want to be with another man. But when I met you, all that fear went away." He smiled at me and continued, "I've repressed this side of me for years. First, it was because I feared being gay, and then because I thought it would upset you. But it's been consuming my dreams for the past 5 years." He explained further. "I've always had an interest in women's clothes, shoes, and makeup. I think it's because I grew up with a tough, tomboyish mother and a weak father figure. But my best friend's mom wore makeup and sexy clothes. I'd hide in their closet and try on her gloves while playing hide and seek. I've always been fascinated by how much effort women put into their looks, and how, through the women's rights movement, they've broken boundaries. They wear pants, do male jobs, while men are still expected to follow the old rules about how they should act and look." He paused. Repressing this urge didn't work, so I decided to give it a try. This was the first step. I was going to tell you soon, but I wanted to ease into it first. "But Olivia, if this isn't something you want, I'll throw it all out and never do it again." I sat silently, processing everything. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside me: excitement, curiosity, even happiness. This was a different Julian, but I liked him. I must have been quiet for too long, though, because he started to stand up. "I understand. I shouldn't expect you to accept this," he began, but I interrupted him. "Let's try it," I said. He looked taken aback. "What?" "I understand, Julian. And if this means so much to you, I want to support you. I want to be a part of this." His face lit up. "Really? You mean it?" I smiled, and he pulled me into one of his bear hugs, tears streaming down his face. "Oh, Olivia, I love you so much." "I know. But we're wasting time. Let's get started." I took his hand and led him to the bathroom. There, I removed the towel from around his waist. "Grab a razor," I said. He hesitated but went to get his. "If you want to feel what it's like to wear nylons, you'll have to shave." And a girl with chest hair is no girl at all. I'll handle the feet and buttocks, you take the chest and arms. He grinned, getting to work. It took almost half an hour, but when we were finished, he couldn't resist running his hands over his smooth skin. Smooth as a baby's bottom, he said, clearly pleased with the results. We're not done yet. This is where the real fun begins, I said, guiding him to my makeup table in the bedroom. He sat with his back to the mirror, so he couldn't see his face until I was finished. You've never worn makeup before? I asked. No, he replied. Well, there's a first time for everything. Get ready to be amazed. I'll admit, I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to makeup. I never leave the house without it, and I'm pretty good at it too. Maybe that's why Julian fell for me. Anyway, Julian had a thick beard, so it took a lot of makeup to cover it up. The unibrow, though charming on a guy, had to go as well. Other than that, his face was naturally quite feminine, soft skin, a petite nose, and eyelashes that could make anyone jealous. I went all out, trying to give him that glamorous, movie star look. It wasn't until I was done that I realized his short hair wasn't the most feminine style. I grabbed the wig from the suitcase and placed it on his head. Where did you get this? I asked. From a shop in London. They have cross-dressing TV hosts there. I even met a few on the street. Amazing, he replied. The wig fit perfectly, and the curly brown hair cascaded over his shoulders. I always imagined you as more of a blonde or maybe a redhead. We'll try that next time, I joked. I'd like that, he said. Can I look now? No, not yet. The transformation isn't complete. But I can tell you, you look fantastic. He did look incredible, beautiful from the shoulders up. But the rest of him still needed work. I don't suppose you've bought a dress behind my back? I teased. Not yet. And I doubt I'd fit into any of yours. Well, remember the dress you got me from your cousin, Gaultier? Jean-Paul? I thought you returned it. You said it was too big, and he promised to have someone fix it. The dress in question was a stunning black leather gown from Jean-Paul Gaultier, Julian's cousin. It was the best dress I had ever owned, but it was too big for me. The bodice was supposed to be tight, but it was loose on my frame. And yes, the Jean-Paul Gaultier is actually Julian's cousin. No, I never got around to returning it. I'll grab it. In the meantime, put on these panties, bra, and tights. And no peeking in the mirror. I handed him my underwear and went into the wardrobe, what Julian likes to call the armor. I found the dress and brought it back to him, now dressed in my underwear and new tights. He stared at the dress for a moment before speaking. You know, I always wanted to see you in this. Well, from now on, it's yours. And I really want to see you in it. Go ahead. Carefully, as if it were fragile, he slipped into the dress. I zipped it up. It fit perfectly, except you'll need something to fill out those bras. You're a bit flat-chested for such a knockout. Knockout, he said, his excitement growing. His face lit up. Well, there's always Maria's old implants. My sister had gotten silicone implants a few years ago, but she didn't like them, so she had them removed and gave them to me. I kept them in my makeup table. After unzipping the dress to place the silicone bags into the bra, it was a perfect fit. What a difference they made. Once he had slipped on the long leather boots, Julian's back arched, and he almost lost his balance. It was clear he was unaccustomed to the sensation of heels. Maybe these heels are a little too big, he said. Nonsense, I replied. You'll get used to them. Now, just a few finishing touches, and you'll be done. I handed him the black leather opera gloves that came with the dress. Julian, with his small fingers, slid them on easily. They were tight, but the material was so thin that his fingers could move freely. All right, now you can look, I said. He turned to face the mirror. My God, he gasped. You've turned me into Liz Hurley's little sister. He had a point. He looked stunning, like a total knockout. He hugged me, kissed me, and I felt it was the best kiss I'd ever had. Thank you, Olivia, he said. You'll need a new name, I said. You can't go by Julian when you look like this. Isabelle, he replied, his voice now deep and contralto, a perfect match for the new persona. Isabelle? I love it. So, Isabelle, how about we go out for dinner? Sounds lovely, she said. For the next half hour, Isabelle practiced walking in heels while I got dressed. I made reservations at the best restaurant in town. By the time we left, she had gotten the hang of walking in heels. I gave her my fur coat, and we headed out to the car. I had been saving for a year to buy the car of my dreams, a Ferrari. It was worth every penny. So, Isabelle, I said, how about you drive? Me? But you never let me drive your car, she replied, clearly surprised. No, I never let Julian drive my car. A girlfriend deserves special treatment, don't you think? I teased. She smiled. I handed her the keys, and she slid into the car, swinging her feet inside. I followed her and watched as she started the engine. It roared to life. How did you know how to get in a car while wearing a dress? I asked. I've watched you do it 100 times, she replied. Plus, I can barely move my feet in this dress, so I didn't have much choice. I leaned over and kissed her softly. She gently touched my face with her gloved hand, her eyes full of affection. You'd better buckle up, she warned. This ride's going to be a wild one. And with that, we sped into the night. Dinner was incredible. We had an unforgettable time. Especially Isabelle. After eating, we headed to the bar, grabbed a corner table, and talked for hours. We stayed away from the topic of cross-dressing, though. I treated her just like any other woman, and that was exactly what she wanted. This night was hers. On the way home, as we were heading up to the house, I said, you know, Isabelle, I don't think I've ever had such a great time. We should do this more often. Really? I'd like that, she smiled. I like Isabelle. She's so much more fun than Julian. How about next weekend? I suggested. We'll need to get you some clothes of your own, of course. As lovely as this dress is, you can't wear it every time. And you need more shoes and boots. And wigs, she added enthusiastically. I like this one, but I think we can do better. I really want to try being a blonde, and a redhead. We laughed, and she kissed me. That night, we shared the best intimacy we'd ever had in our marriage, and it's only gotten better and even more adventurous since then. Julian was over the moon, and I was thrilled to see him so happy. You could say it marked the beginning of our new life together. Things truly changed from that moment on. It's been 2 years now, and Isabelle has blossomed, and I've grown alongside her. Her wardrobe is now just as extensive as mine, and we go out every weekend, sometimes even more often. I've got plenty more to share, and I'll continue posting those stories in the near future.